Good morning, good morning, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing great and it's getting better each and every single day. How you doing?
Well, I'm doing fantastic. Where are you located?
Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
I'm out in the Bay Area.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
You where
So
you
it's a little early here.
Oh, yes it is. Yes it is. It's 8 o'clock your time, 11 o'clock
Yeah.
Eastern mine.
So I'm still having my second cup of tea.
Oh, wow. So you're getting your morning juice.
I am. I definitely am. I kind of went to my last thing I did yesterday was a podcast interview, and the first thing today. That's always a good thing to get the word out, isn't it?
Yes, it is. I think
Yeah.
the podcasting platform is actually taking over uh, the radio industry.
I would agree. Totally 100%. And by the way, have you been on Clubhouse?
No.
Oh, Arthur, you got to get yourself on there.
Wow.
Have to do it. It's taking off and you want to be an early adopter. Remember, I said that. It's recording. Yeah, you really do. You want to get on there because it's such a unique platform. It's just audio. It's like going into a conference and just
Mhm.
slipping into a room and hearing a conversation going on, and you can leave whenever you want, and people can be brought to the stage. It's amazing. Absolutely incredible.
Oh, I'm definitely going to look into that platform. And did you hear about Joe Rogan?
No.
Spotify gave him an offer of $100 million, but
Oh,
he wanted
yes.
to put his
Okay.
yeah,
Okay, that was a little bit ago. I thought there was
yes.
another one. I'm like, oh my
All right.
God, is somebody competing? Yes, I did hear about that one.
Yes.
Do you believe that?
Yes. And they just want to put his content, on their platform and try to take it off of the YouTube platform.
It's unbelievable.
Yes.
It
Yes,
really
yes, it
is.
is.
I mean, we're just consuming things
Mhm.
so like voraciously. Like we're just like, give me anything, right? I mean, I'm looking at my desk right now and I've got seven books that I'm like, I keep ordering new. I'm like, oh, I want to read that. And I'm racing through books. I'm listening to podcasts. I'm like taking courses. You have time at home
Mhm.
where you can't do anything. And I think that our own individual growth this year has been off the charts.
Yes, absolutely. And besides, what's going on with the pandemic and the COVID,
Mm.
that affected a lot of entrepreneurs and business owners. But people are still, moving forward with publishing outside the box content to the world.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I was looking at your impressive resume, and I
Oh,
told a
thank
great
you.
friend of mine about you. His name is Gordon Bazar. He
Mhm.
generates millions of dollars in the private equity sector. And
Mm.
actually, he's in your neck of the woods in California. So when he went to your website, he was blown away, and he was delighted in regards to what you're doing with helping entrepreneurs and business owners to rebrand their business. So he
Oh,
wanted to see if y'all can do a 30-minute conference call to see how y'all can create value for one another.
hey, more than happy to have that introduction.
All righty. All righty. So you ready to rock and roll?
Always,
Okay.
always, always. Let's do this.
Good morning, everyone. This is Arthur Robinson Jr. I'm the creator and host of the Powerful Interviews podcast. And today I have another special interview for each and every one of you. Today I have a wonderful person on the show. She's a great friend of mine. Her name is Hilary Decesare. For those that don't know Hilary, let me explain to each and every one of you about this incredible, phenomenal woman. Hilary Seizure is the founder and CEO of the relaunch company and Everloop. She has her own podcast, which is called Silverline Relaunch Podcast, and she reaches millions of people across the world. She was on the hit TV show, which is called Secret Millionaire, and that is an awesome, impressive resume. Without further ado, I'd like to welcome the one, the only, the beautiful Hilary Decesare to the show.
Well, Arthur, I feel like I should be coming into the ring. You know, I'm like, I've got my silks on, I'm running down. Yeah, my hands are up.
I,
Thank you.
well, I'd like to thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to educate me and the audience worldwide about how to relaunch your business. I gladly appreciate it.
Absolutely. I'm so excited to be here.
To everyone that's listening and watching right now, I highly recommend go and get your pen and your pad right now. My great friend Hilary Decesare is going to break down layman's terms about the power of rebranding your business. Is that correct, Hilary?
That is, it's not only that, we are going to touch upon relaunching either a brand new concept for you or rebranding and relaunching your actual company that maybe isn't quite performing the way you want it to be.
All right, let's get into it. What I'd like to know, and can you explain to the audience in layman's terms, who is the beautiful Hilary Decesare? How long you been in your powerful industry, and what is your expertise?
I love, who is Hilary Decesare? Well, let me share. I'll tell you a quick story that should really sum it all up. When I recently turned 50, and I had the birthday party, and it was before everything happened. It was an away vacation at a place that I grew up going. I had all of my friends around. I had my beautiful mom there, and we were walking around the lake. It was 7 miles around. We were singing together. We were dancing together. And I came home, and within 4 days, I got a call. Hadn't even looked at my photos from the trip. I got a call, and it was from my mom. And she said, "Hilary, are you sitting down?" And I said, why? And she said, "I was just diagnosed with stage 4 colon cancer,
Hmm.
and it's bad." And I just went from this highest of high to the lowest of low. And it brought me back to starting to just, you replay everything that you have had, the memories that you've had with that person. And it brought me back to a time where I was living in Los Angeles in a place called Bel Air, very, very fancy. We had moved there. My stepfather was president of a couple different banks, and my mom had grown up in, country club living and all this. And I overheard a conversation from my stepfather and my mom. And basically, my stepfather was getting fired from his job, and he was very concerned because the market was crashing. And my mom said, "Well, I was planning to have the house painted, and it was brown color, very like, muddy looking color." And she said, we've talked about this." And he said, "I'm sorry, Judy, we can't do it. It can't happen right now. It's not the right time." And I knew that she was, very upset about it, but more upset about the situation. And I went away for the summer to visit my dad. And when I came back, my mom said, "Well, we're painting the house." And I said, "Oh, wow. Okay." So in my mind, I'm thinking things are good. Things are starting to come around. And I pull up to the house with my mom, and there's a small ladder and a little teeny can of paint. And I looked at it, and I thought, well, that's weird. Why would they have left that stuff in just one? And she said, "I'm painting the house." And I said, almost like that teenage embarrassment, like, "You've got to be kidding. There's no way you're painting the house. You can't possibly paint the house. What if my friends see? What if your friends see?" Well, she did. She painted the house. It took her 2 years. And by the time she finally finished, we had to sell the house. We had to sell it, and we consistently kind of kept moving down, kind of like the next step down, the next step down. And I guess my point is this: my mom, she fought like heck, but she ended up dying about a year after she had called me. And through that time, it made me realize how incredible her resilience was, how she was facing transitions, how she was trying to relaunch herself continually. After she painted the house, she became a member of the grand jury of Los Angeles. She then became, she then continued to work on herself and to thrive as she went up, but without, very little money. She didn't have any at that point. And then when she was 70 years old, she joined the volunteer police force in her area because she continued to want to give back. And the last thing I want to mention as we move forward with relaunch is that she would always say, "It is what it is, so now what?" In other words, you're always going to have things coming at you, but what small thing can you do to move yourself forward? So during this whole time period, as she was encouraging me to continue to try new things throughout my life, don't give up. Remember, painting a house as your friends drove by, as your daughter who's mortified is coming home. I watched her persevere. I watched her become this powerhouse of possibility. And so my story continued. Yes, I did the corporate. Yes, I did, all these great things. But bottom line is, why am I doing what I'm doing right now? Because that's really all that matters. And why I'm doing it is because I know every single person out there has greatness within them. And we just need to be reminded that we all have the ability to pick up a paintbrush. We all have the ability to get on the ladder, to take that next step. And we all have the ability, if we know the steps to take, we can do it. And we can do it together. And that's what the Relaunch Co. is all about.
Wow. So your mom, she basically was a go-getter. And she, basically, took on that tough position as joining the police force. So basically, your mother instilled great morals and values ever since you was a little kid.
No doubt. No matter what came our way, and there were a lot of different things that came our way. There's always the rags to riches story, but rarely do you hear the riches to rags, right? And I had honestly the privilege to be there with my mom and watch her go through the stages of having it and then not having it, and then building it back up and realizing that what's really most important is what's within. I always say the 3 H's. It's the heart to the head to the higher self. And we get so caught up in the head and we forget that the real power of the head is not in the logistical side. It's in what you can do with your subconscious. It's in what you can do with, changing your beliefs. Because if I continue to go down that path of, I saw my mom have money and then not have any money at all. I saw her painting a house. I would have a belief that, what? I can't get, you start with something, you don't have it. You start with something, you lose it. You can't keep it. Well, I was able to overcome limiting beliefs to get to the point, as you said, I was on the show, The Secret Millionaire, giving away over $150,000 of my own money to help others who are doing incredible things, nonprofits grow, get more recognition. That's what really is incredible. That I guess I walk the talk. I've been able to do that. And now I share that with people that are wanting to start a business, that are tired of the corporate world, or they now know that after the year we've had as a world pandemic, that they know that life is short and that you have to go for those dreams, those visions. But most people don't know how. It's the how. It's the A to Z. How do you actually launch a business? And we talk about, rebranding. Rebranding is something, and I have a 7-step, it's called the relaunch effect. And it's 7 steps to be able to relaunch yourself. And yes, it was originally something that I did for business, right? This is, I'm a businesswoman, I'm a Silicon Valley CEO. I'm an investor in companies. And I've always looked at it very much like, oh, okay, you're the entrepreneur of you. And if that's the case, how come we can't use entrepreneurial skills for your whole life? Not just in relaunching a business, but relaunching you, relaunching who you are, what you are, how you are. And so the steps that really tie nicely into, and I actually have a step, it's step number 5 called rebrand. And that means that at sometimes you can't go backwards. You can't go backwards in time and try to recapture what you had. You have to say right now, what's the identity that you want to be in the future? What's the behavior of that person? What's the attitude of that person? And that's who you want to be emulating. That's every day striving for a little bit more, little bit more.
Mm, that's absolutely amazing. And you are absolutely right. I think, entrepreneurs and business owners, they have to learn how to master their emotions. And then, sometimes when they, launch a business and it doesn't go their way within the first year, 2 or 3 years, they get frustrated and then they want to start another business endeavor. But, you have to go through the struggles in order for that business to become successful. And I think that's where a lot
Well,
of entrepreneurs, they lack,
mm,
in regards to their ambition. And, you got to have discipline when you're building the business. It's not going to be easy with, launching a 6 or 7 figure or 8 figure business. But if you just stay on that path and truly believe in yourself and have true intentions that it's going to happen, then you already put in your head that you're going to make it happen. So you already won, even though you don't see it in your bank account
mm.
as of now. And I think that's where a lot of entrepreneurs get frustrated. How do you feel about entrepreneurs and business owners where they're getting frustrated, where they are generating some top line revenue in their company, but they're trying to excel it to the 8 figure mark? How do you feel about entrepreneurs where they're getting frustrated with all the pressures that's going on in America?
Well, first off, what you said is so accurate. It's spot on that, most people think, well, gosh, I've been doing this 2, 3 years. I should be further along. I should be more successful. And the reason we feel that way is because a lot of the gurus out there, a lot of the people we follow sit there and say, here's how I went from a 6 figure to a 7 figure to an 8 to a 10, da 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 da. And we think, yeah, I want to do that. I want to ride that bandwagon. Like, I want to be him. I want to be her. But what they aren't telling you is the blood, sweat, and tears of the first 5 to 10 years to get there, right? You look at Gary Vee, you look at Amy Porterfield, you look at Marie Forleo. These are all people, on the online space and really involved in media, but not one of them hit it for the first 10 years. And they worked so hard to get to where they are, the ups and the downs. Now, what you can do is learn from people. And this is where, I think you have to be focused on when you can learn from someone who is ahead of you, 6 figure, 7 figure, 8 figure, no matter where you are, you should always be thinking, well, what are they doing? What are the behaviors? What are the characteristics that they've taken on that you should be taking on? The worst thing that a person can do is that if you're running a business and, if it's under 6 figures, if it's over 6 figures, that you're running it from where you are today. Because if you run it from where you are today, tomorrow you'll be exactly where you are. 1 year from now, you'll be exactly where you are. You need to be forward projecting. Right? So if you're right now kind of that, 1 month on, 1 month off, 1 month on, you can't quite break through the 6 figures, then you have to look at how are you showing up, right? It's this concept of, I call it the G zone, right? The zone of your genius, your greatness, but it's also the zone where you have gratitude. It's all the G's, it's all these incredible things that you have to be focused on. But the most important thing is that you need to be looking forward at who you need to end up being. So otherwise, it's going into this cycle that you just keep coming back like, why can't I break through? And another thing that I want to say is that we know that when a thought is repeated over and over, and that feeling or emotion is attached, a belief is created. And what I find, Arthur, is that I find the people that can't break through the gates, and there's a gate, when you break through your first 10,000, 50,000, 100,000, 250, a million, 2.5 million, 5 million. I mean, there's all these gates. But a lot of times our beliefs, remember I said that whole like heart to the head to the higher self, that head, that subconscious part, and I do a ton around neuro coaching, that's the part that's holding you back. That's the reason that you can't go forward and relaunch yourself into the next phase of your business.
Absolutely. The only person that basically is sabotaging you is you. And it's all about, what's going on inside your head. If you don't control what's going on inside your head, you're basically going to lose. And like you said, I think people, they look at these gurus and, they say, well, I went from 6 to 7 to 8 to 9 figures, but they're not talking about the grind work that they had to put in to go from one place in their life to making a transition to being a multi-millionaire or a deca or a hecto-millionaire. And I think a lot of
a great friend of mine is AC Green. He was part of the Lakers, and I interviewed him, and I've known him for 10 years plus, probably even longer now, maybe 15. And he has told me numerous times that when he came to the Lakers and then he came back to all these different things that he did, he had to fight up against, well, geez, they've already won. How are we going to win again? And then when you don't, you got to get back on there. And it was like, what happens in basketball? They win, then you lose, then, oh, you're in, you're out. And that same thing happens in business. And if you don't have a solid foundation, if you don't have a solid foundation, you start to show cracks in your foundation. I would ask you, what are you doing when things start to go wrong? Because they will. That's part of being a business owner. One, you should always have somebody that you're working with. I have a coach. In fact, I have 2 coaches that I work with because I want to continue to improve. I want to be pushed. I want to understand when I'm holding, as you said, sabotaging myself. I want to be reminded that, you know what, Hilary, you're doing this to yourself. But then I also want to learn from somebody that, yeah, this is what I need to do. This is the mindset of a performer. This is the mindset of a successful, as you said, all the way up in terms of businesses. That's where you want to be. That's what you need to be doing.
Absolutely. You're absolutely correct. That's when the magic happens. And, when you're going through that grinding mode, you will persevere, but you got to stick with what you know, and you have to implement what you feel every day of your life. Like I write down my goals constantly. And, you got to, keep looking at them goals and then keep pursuing those goals until you get those tasks done. Now, if you put a timeline on it, that's one thing. But remember, you are accountable for your actions. You're accountable for what you want to do. Now, if you want to have a successful business, like you said, most successful entrepreneurs, they all have coaches. Donald Trump has a coach in terms of, real estate. A lot of these gurus have coaches, and they invested in themselves, heavily to propel to the next level. But it's a lot of the gurus, they have processes and systems in place, and also people, because people build the business. The right people build the business, but the business don't build the people. So when you got the right people that's helping you taking that dream to a whole nother level, then you're going to excel to the next level. The COO of the company, they have to make the CEO look good. But basically when you start in your business, you are the CEO of the company, but you basically are
You're a
hiring
solopreneur
yourself.
doing everything.
Absolutely. You're wearing all
Yeah.
the hats, but you got to get an assistant, you got to get a virtual assistant. You may not want to, tackle all the, endless counts of emails that's coming into you, but you may have a virtual assistant that look at the most important things that's going to bring a lot of value to your life. And I think a lot of entrepreneurs, they lose sight of that. I had billionaire Jeff Hoffman, a co-founder of Priceline.com, and he came on my platform. He's conveying a lot of value about, how to really scale your business to a whole nother level. But like he said, he had humble beginnings, and he basically pursued what he wanted to do, and now he's a billionaire. But when people actually look at people at those levels, like you said, they really want to be them and want to implement what they have accomplished. But are you willing to really go through what they've been through in order for you to excel to the next level? And I think that's where a lot of entrepreneurs, they lose sight of.
Well, and one thing that I have always been, I am very transparent as a coach, as a business leader, and I've run many companies. And this one now, the Relaunch Co., I was asked, well, how big are you now? Well, if you look, I have been running this company. I started it. And my goal as I continue to grow this company is 7 figures this year. And we're well on our way to get there. And I know people are like, well, wait a second, that's not that much. Well, we've only been in business a short amount of time. But then I actually share how we are getting here, how we got here, what steps we used, so that people can actually go behind, the curtain and see this is how you truly launch a business. And it is an A to Z process. There are steps to successfully and not successfully launch a business. And so I really dig into, I truly believe the foundation of your business is why companies either succeed or fail. It all starts because a lot of times people come in and they say, well, I've had great success and I've been doing this, I've been selling, and oh my gosh, I ended up having, a 6-figure month, and then they have nothing, right? And then for 3 months and they say, well, I don't get it. It was so successful. Well, they've never set up the business. All they've done is they were pushing a product that they knew a lot about, but they didn't know how to run the company. They just happened to know a lot about that specific product. And that's not business. That's being in the business, not working on the business. Working on the business is looking at it from an entrepreneur, a CEO's mindset, being smart, being savvy. And those are the ticket items. That's when you understand how a business is run by time, team, and money. And how do you eventually get to the point where you have all 3 of these areas and that you're running this as a repeatable process? Technology matters. How do you get this so that I've got people that on the like face value, you'd be like, oh my gosh, their business is so great and they're just killing it. But then you look at their financials and they're in the hole. They're not getting any profit. And they sit there and they say, yeah, I just don't get it. And I have to inform them that they don't get business. They don't understand what it takes. They have, revenue coming in, but their expenses far exceed. Their profit is minimal to nothing. That's not a successful business. What we want to do is create, I think what really is heart-wrenching for me is the people who finally come to me and they've spent 50,000 or more on something that we need to back up before we go forward. Yeah. And they say, well, what, I've invested all this money, but they've invested it in the wrong way. It's like the shiny penny. Well, that's my ticket. That's my silver bullet. I need to get that. I need to get that. I need to hire this person who is, way too expensive for them right now, but he's going to be my miracle. He's going to make my company successful. No, what's going to make your company successful is you understanding business. And that's really where we launch and we relaunch ourselves in business. And you have to, and it doesn't mean you have to have, an MBA. It doesn't mean that you have to necessarily even have business classes. It means that you have to be open to the successful processes that as you're starting your business, you're aware of. That you can't just, as I said, it's not about, hey, I hit every to-do list today. I hit every single item. That's not it. It's what will bring in revenue. How will you grow your company? And I call it the make, keep, grow method. It's part of the relaunch effect. And the whole idea is you really have to understand, what are you trying to make? What is this company? How is it a reflection? Because we know, your company is a reflection of you, but how do you really want it to reflect you? And then when you start to look at keeping, it's like keeping what you are putting in as a value, and not just, keeping everything that goes out, right? You can't keep anything. It just keeps going out. A dollar comes in, $2 goes out. Mm-hmm. And you can't do that if you're planning to grow. If you're planning to have a lifestyle where you're not, attached to this company 7/24, because that's the other problem, right, Arthur?
Absolutely.
People build these companies and they feel like they can't take a vacation. I had a person who came to me and I was coaching them, and they had recently sold their company for over 200 million, and he had no life, and his wife was 1 foot out the door. He had no relationship with his kids, but yeah, he had a ton of money. And guess what? Wasn't happy. It wasn't the lifestyle. So we really have to get clear on, what it really is that you're going for. What are you really trying to create? What are you really trying to launch or relaunch? And that's where it becomes, really about it. We always talk about alignment, right? And one of my steps is realign. It's right before rebrand. And when you are aligned with that end vision of your lifestyle that you're going for, not your life, because we're all living, but is it the lifestyle that you're living that you love?
Absolutely. Like you said, it's not your lifestyle. It's about, are you really living? And living is given. And,
Living is given.
a lot of entrepreneurs, they have to constantly reinvent themselves and, relaunch their business. And, they got to constantly, rebrand themselves and come out with products and services that the marketplace wants. So, every time you create a product, you got to have a specific niche where they basically are your raving fans. So they actually want your products and services. And then you have to focus on, branding yourself. So once people like you, respect you, and know you, that's when their minds are made up and they want to invest in you because you are your brand.
Oh, I cannot even tell you how many people don't understand this. I take people through a process of having them understand their core values. And I always get, not always, but a majority of the time I get the glazed over eyes, like, we're doing what? You want me to talk about my values like this, Hilary, like, can't we just start to figure out how we're going to make, money, how we're going to increase the bottom line? And once I take them through this values exercise, it helps them realize how potentially out of alignment they are. If these are their values and you're a reflection of your business and you're not incorporating your values into your business, into your branding, because again, your company is you. What makes you unique and different? We talk about a unique mechanism. We talk about a USP, a unique selling, proposition. What is it that makes you unique? What makes you unique is your values, what you stand for, and how you're going to put it out there into the marketplace. And that's where your vibe attracts your tribe. That's where you really start to realize, like, gosh, this is much easier to do because I'm putting out there like, hey, this is who I am. I'm about connection. I'm about the idea of giving you the potential of untapping your possibilities. I want you to be a powerhouse of possibility. That's who I am. Those are my values. It's like I seek to create greatness in others because I know it's there. So once I was very comfortable with this, once I really leaned into it, then as I'm building up more of my marketing, more of the things that are branding my company, I'm making sure that every single post has this possibility as an underlying, this connection, this, joie de vivre, this joy of life. Like that's who I am. I'm about love and connection. I'm about, there's so many people out there that are like, screaming from mountaintops, love your life, love your life. And I know for so many of us, when we've been through major relaunches, it's really tough to be at a state of love when you're really in a state of sadness, of depression. And so what I really want to encourage people to do is first like yourself before you can love yourself. Go that way. Just, start with liking. And once you can start to like yourself, then you can take the steps to love yourself. But that's all about what I stand for. And so my brand, the Relaunch Co., is about conveying that to the people that would be hearing the message. Like, yeah, I like what she stands for. I stand for those things. That's who I am. That's who I'm striving to be. And that's where there's that huge connection between brand and your company and your customers.
So your brand is your promise?
Your brand is your promise.
Mm.
And a
Wow.
lot of times people say, get down to one word, get down to that one word that is something that truly represents everything. And you might have a word, right? You might have that word, but then you really have to understand what is the core promise you're delivering. What's that? It's not a feature. It's not a feature that matters. It's the benefit. And it's not the benefit to you. It's the benefit to them. We all want to have something for us. And you can go and you can look at so many different marketing and so many people online that it's all about them. And it can't be all about them. It has to be all about the person hearing it. How will your product help them in whatever way you are saying your company is going to deliver? I say, I am going to help create and launch or relaunch your business, your relationships, and your lifestyles. And my promise is that I'm going to untap your possibility, your greatness. That's what I'm going to do. And so when I show up on anything, I am literally trying to serve in a way that will help people spark their own possibility. I have a group called a 6-month business program that I teach. It's called the Fired Up Entrepreneur. Well, what am I doing there? How does that relate to what I just said? If I'm trying to untap your greatness, wouldn't it be amazing to feel fired up again about your business, about your life, about your relationships? So to see how the tie-in, see how the branding, it works. It's like that piece of the puzzle that, sure, that makes total sense that she's doing that.
Wow. Hold that thought. I'll be right back. I'm back.
Awesome.
Sorry for the discrepancy.
It's all good.
Now, we covered a whole lot of ground when we're talking about relaunching businesses and what people need to do in order to become successful in business. Let's have a conversation about money. Now, I know money is not value. Money is just a facilitator to do transactions. Can you explain to the audience, how would you define money?
Would love it. So money is energy. You know, we give money a much bigger meaning than it should. The reason that, you know, money came about is that if you think back in the olden days, there wasn't a form of currency like that. People bartered. I'll give you this bowl if you give me those grains, right? That was a form of currency. So as we move forward now, and I go deep into the law of attraction around wealth and around abundance, what we have to realize is just like gravity, right? You throw a ball in the air, it's going to come down. Same idea, same concept around the law of attraction and wealth. You put out there a belief, money is hard to come by. You got to work till, you know, your eyes bleed. And that's what you're going to get back because it is energy. If you can change those negative ways that you're thinking about money, because it is energy at the base, you can actually improve your money situation, your wealth abundance very quickly. And the way you do that is you literally have to realize, what are your money stories? What are the things that you were taught as a kid, that you heard from your parents, from your teachers, from your friends' parents, that because we talked about thoughts and emotions repeated over time become a belief, what beliefs are you carrying about money that could be holding you back? And once you start to realize, yeah, oh my God, that isn't even like my belief. And if I listen to what Hilary's saying, and if my thoughts today bring out my outcome tomorrow, I got to get rid of those limiting beliefs as fast as possible because they're holding you back.
Wow. So would you say that money is the byproduct of the value that you uncover?
So if your value is a positive value, then it means that you had a positive belief system around money, or you have worked through what I call a belief blaster, which is a process. But if it is a negative value that's not serving you, then you're correct.
Hilary, I appreciate you coming on my show today, because the whole premise of my show is to educate entrepreneurs and business owners on a local, national, international level, that they can live the life that they truly desire, but they have to be open to these important principles. So I don't like what I see what's on the news, so I create my own news.
Arthur, I love what you're doing.
Hilary, let's have a conversation about what it really takes to be an entrepreneur. Now, the word entrepreneur means entreprendre, and it was a Latin word, and it was invented in the 15th century in France. And a gentleman by the name of John Baptist, he invented the word, and over 300 years later, that word still exists, which is entrepreneur. So entre means between, and ponder means to take. So it means to take lower productivity and increase it to higher productivity. Can you explain to the audience, how are you increasing your productivity in your current businesses?
I'm laughing right now because I took 7 years of Latin. I read the Iliad and the Odyssey in Latin.
Wow.
And I have never really thought about the word entrepreneur. So, I mean, right now, my Latin teacher, Miss Valley, She is just rolling her eyes at me. So thank you for sharing that, because I really didn't know that, between and the take and the production. And I really think that when you talk about being an entrepreneur
Mm,
and you talk about producing, and why is being an entrepreneur so incredibly special and rewarding, it's because you are capable of being your own boss.
mm,
You are in the position to make the decisions that you started the business to get something out there, to impact others, to serve others. And you have that ability with the productivity that you do each and every day to make that happen. I do a lot of goal setting, but I don't call them goals. They're scazy. These scazy goals. I create a lot of words that probably are not in the dictionary. But
mm,
when you put scary and crazy together, you get scazy. And I've been using this word for 25 years with my children. And that's what it's all about, being an entrepreneur, and realizing that, yeah, there's some scary things, there's some fear-based, there's some limiting beliefs that are going to show up. But then there's this crazy concept that you can actually do it. You can
mm,
do whatever you believe you can do. It just has to line up. But you also have to have a form of productivity along the way. You have to. It's not The Secret, the book The Secret, where think it and it'll happen. No, think it,
mm,
and start to work on it every day, moving it forward. Small steps, small incremental steps. That's how you start to be productive. Because if you do one small thing towards those scazy goals every day,
mm,
it's not that, and in 365 days, you're going to be 365 percentage, closer. No,
mm.
compound interest. You're going to be way over that. But you do have to realize that productivity is paramount to
Mm.
being successful.
Absolutely. Productivity is paramount. And I think if people really put that into their cerebellum and, brand that powerful statement that you just said into their brains, into their everyday lives, they're on their path to not only becoming successful, but be the success that you want to be. It's just like Gandhi said, be the change that you would like to see in the world.
Mm.
And that's why I don't look at the news, because every time you look at the news, all you see is rape, pillage, plunder, recession, depression. You're getting dumped with negativity. But what people should be putting into their mental garden is positivity, information from people who are doing well, information from people who are not dwelling on tragedy, but more on success.
Mental garden. Whatever you plant, the seeds you're planting, if it's all the negative that
Mm,
comes with all the media,
mm,
then as you water that, what do you think's going to grow?
mm. Hillary, let's have a dialogue about marriage. I have a lot of entrepreneurs and business owners. They are married, they are, engaged, and some of them had that support mechanism from their partner where they're building a business, but they saying that their partner just don't see what they see. And we have a lot of entrepreneurs where they are really successful, but they're just saying that they not getting that support mechanism that they want from their partner. And I think if people really sit down and just brainstorm about the foundation that they're building for their family, about the financial house they're building for their business, and about the necessary action steps that they have to take in order to become successful in your financial house, I think it'd be a lot, easier, and it'd be a lot of, pain relievers, so to speak, in regards to what people is really actually thinking in their own head. How do you think about marriage, and should husbands and wives have that support mechanism coming from their partners? Or if they're not in alignment with one another, should they just say, leave peacefully and quietly in regards to what is working and in regards to what's not working?
Okay. I have to say, gender intelligence is what we're
Mm,
talking about.
mm,
And there is over at my free, the Relaunch Effect. It's a Facebook group, the Relaunch Effect. In there, I do a almost hour-long workshop on gender intelligence. And I think that the biggest mistake that we as people do repeatedly is we believe that our partner, our spouse, is psychic. We just assume that, hey, we have been together. You must understand what I'm thinking. We say the same words. We're, sometimes we even dress the same without even knowing it. We come out of, and we walk, into the room and we're in basically the same thing. No, they are not psychic. You have to understand that you need to be sharing with them what you are thinking. Why are you doing? Remember, I talked about the lifestyle and the business. Why are you doing this business? And there's some people that say, my number one core value is family. And yet they are holed up in their office. They're not seeing their family, but in their mind, they're doing everything. They're working this hard. They're putting in the hours, the blood, sweat, and tears so that they can provide for their family. Whereas the wife, the kids are like, hey, what about me? I'm over here. I'm over here and I'm feeling very disconnected. And then all of a sudden there's a divorce that happens. And you're like, but wait, I was only doing this for my family. Right. So unless you both are sharing the end goal, here's what I'm going for. And then the wife, who probably has a job herself, says, well, here's what I'm going for. And it's almost, if you think about it, it's like co-founding a business together. You have to first identify what do you want out of the business, and then the other co-founder, what do they want? And then you got to meet in the middle and say, it's not one-sided or the other, it's a merging of what you both want. And that's what you have to realize, that there are going to be those times where you have, I've got a launch coming up on Monday, and I know this weekend I'm not going to be as available for my family. I know that, but they know that because I've shared that with them. And then what I've done is I said, but here is this block of time that I am going to be completely present, that we're going to have dinner together, that we're going to sit down, that we're going to go for a walk this, Saturday, we're going to go on this hike. And I know I have it and I've scheduled it. And so they're happy with it and I'm happy with it. So it has to be about communication, because men and women operate differently. And again, that's a whole nother conversation. And I know we're wrapping up in the next 5 minutes, and I can't go too deeply in there, but I got to say.
Oh, go deep. I like deep conversations.
Go deep in 5 minutes.
Hilary, they need to hear this. Yeah. And that is absolutely true. It's the lack of communication. And I think that, like you said, men and women, we operate differently. If men was put on this earth to really think and take actions like a woman, then guess what? It'll just be women on the planet, or it wouldn't be the woman species that's surviving on the planet, it'd just be the men's species on the planet. But that's not true. And like you said, communication is power. See, communication is the key ingredient when you are interacting with people. Also, in addition to that, Hilary, communication is the channel through which life is conveyed.
Beautiful.
So, when you have a partner, and like you said, y'all actually are co-founding the business together, you have to be in alignment with what's the end goal in mind. Now, once, dividends are coming in, people, they are elated, they happy. Now, when things start to slow down, that's when you really see what true tough skin that your partner has when you're going through the trials and tribulations of a business. How do you feel about that in regards to your partner sticking it in with you through the good times and the bad times?
It's, again, you're the entrepreneur of your life. And when there is a point of failure in your life, the business of you will fail. There'll be a breakdown. You'll get sick. Your company won't, last. You'll have, problems in your relationships. You have to be approaching it from that if you look at, would you be managing your relationships the same way you manage a business? And I'm not talking about like, cutting it down to like, this is a black and white decision. But if you really think about how you would be with people that work for you, there would be respect, there would be, career growth that you're trying to do. And do you do the same thing with the people that surround you and love you? A lot of times we take those people for granted. But if you take somebody for granted in your business, what happens? They leave. They walk out. They're sorry, not interested in being here anymore.
Absolutely. Everybody wants to feel appreciated. And, I call it like your appreciation mechanism. You definitely need
Mhm.
that in your business as well as your personal life with, everyone is on the same page. And when everybody's on the same page, everybody wins. It's no, uh, it's no well, actually, it's a I in win. And, people have to really adopt that mindset.
Mhm.
Hillary, I wrote down some powerful words, 10 being the highest and 1 being the lowest. So you can rate them in your own influential way. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Perseverance,
9,
accountability,
10,
family,
10,
value,
10,
intellectual property,
8,
branding,
8,
marketing,
10,
love,
10,
marriage,
10,
spirituality,
10,
healing,
10,
thoughtfulness,
10,
fun,
10.
present embodied.
Well, right now, with everything going on in the world, change 10.
All right,
Okay,
that's
so
for sure.
Arthur, I have to go. I have a call
Okay.
right now,
All
but
right.
you are so charming. So if you
Oh,
want to wrap it, I'll
yes.
be quiet.
Hillary, can you explain to the audience exactly where they can find you? And do you have any last pearls of wisdom for the audience?
Well, again, I would love for you to come to the my Facebook page, www the relaunch. Actually, it's Facebook. I'm going to give you two sites, okay? www the relaunch effect, that's with an E, effect.com is my website. And that has my podcast links. I've got a great podcast called The Silver Lined Relaunch. It has my business courses. It has a great free 7-day how to get unstuck challenge for you and getting into the G zone. And then you also, if you're interested in, hey, getting involved in gender intelligence, definitely go to our Facebook page. It's free and you can take that training. And that is the Facebook page, The Relaunch Effect. The Relaunch Effect. And so please come on over. Let me know that Arthur sent you, and we will definitely do some extra special things.
Hillary, I'd like to thank you once again for taking time out of your busy schedule to educate me and the audience worldwide about rebranding yourself and about launching a successful business. I gladly appreciate it. You are a gift from God.
Oh, thank you. And thank you for having this platform. It was a pleasure to talk to you.
To everyone that's listening and watching right now, I highly recommend get involved with the phenomenal, the beautiful Hilary Decesare. You had the passion that came through her voice on my show today. She broke down layman's terms about how you can take your passion and turn them into phenomenal profits. Go to a website and look up on Google. Just type in HILARY Decesare, and she will definitely pop up on the Google search engines. And she has incredible content that could take your mindset and your business to a whole nother level. But remember, you have to implement what you learn. Knowledge is not power. The implementation of knowledge, that's what makes it become powerful. So to everyone that is listening and watching right now, remember that the strongest asset that each and every one of you have is your brain, and what you think about and what you take action on, that will become your reality, and your mentality creates your reality. May God bless each and every one of you, and bye for now. Thank you, Hilary. I really appreciate you conveying value to my platform.
Thank you so much.
And bye for now.
Yay, thank you. I do have to drop. You were charming.
Oh,
Such a pleasure, and I hope that our paths cross again soon.
oh, absolutely. And the connection with Gordon, because he actually wants to do a conference call with you.
Can you email? I've got to jump on this other call.
Okay.
It's also a Zoom call, so I'm like, I got to go.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Okay.
Okay.
Bye for
Bye-bye.
now.